Hey, good morning guys. I'm the Tech Prepper. Hope you're all doing well. Today actually is the 25th, so Merry Christmas to you guys. And the subject primarily for this video is going to be some battery testing I've done over the last 10 days on these Pale Blue Earth rechargeable lithium ion batteries. I am testing the AA batteries as well as the AAA cells. Now, this is not going to be scientific, but I want to make the point that the testing I'm doing is designed to support my needs and my scenarios, and everybody's devices and requirements may be different. So my primary goal is to be able to find a battery technology that I can quickly and reliably recharge in the field. And the reason why I decided to look into these Pale Blue Earth batteries is that they have a micro USB port on the battery itself, and they give you a 5-volt USB charger with a pigtail that has 4 micro USB adapters, and they allow you to recharge 4 batteries at a time. And the claim from this manufacturer was that you can recharge very quickly, which is accurate based on my testing. We're going to get all into that. My second requirement was to be able to reuse my gear that I use in the field for amateur radio. So I typically have with me a solar charge controller because it has a 5-volt USB out, and it also has the ability for me to connect a 12-volt battery and also top off this battery with solar. So I wanted to be able to reuse my field gear for the purpose of topping off the batteries. Now, the two requirements I have are the ability to power my amateur radio. This is the Yaesu FT60R, as well as a headlamp. So these are the two devices I use for the purpose of the testing over the last 10 days. This is a cheap Energizer headlamp that takes 3 alkaline batteries. I did put the lithiums in here. And then the FT60R comes with a nickel metal hydride battery pack that is 1.4 amps or 1400 milliamp capacity. The problem with this one is that not all of the FT60Rs can actually charge this in the field. So for this test, what I actually opted to do was use the Yaesu FT60R battery tray that takes AA batteries, and I put 6 of the Pale Blue Earth lithium ion batteries in here. The other thing I did to test this whole scenario is I wanted to be real world, so I also challenged myself by doing something I never do. So I ran every morning for the last 9 days in the dark, anywhere from 0500 to about 0630, and I ran with the headlamp and I ran in the cold. And the headlamp setting that I used on this particular Energizer headlamp was just a single bulb setting, so I would have a good baseline, and that provided enough illumination for me to be safe and see the road. And then for the FT60R, I kept it on receive the entire run and did 1 short transmission into the repeater before I started, and then 1 at the end, and we'll get more into that. So this is going to be a long video, but I wanted to journal and document all the experiences. And you're also going to find out some experiences I had that were related to running and the cold and the dark, which I'm not used to training in those conditions. All right, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Oh, and stay tuned to the end because I'm going to give you basically a summary. I'll put a timestamp on the screen for that. All right, guys, so it's day 2. Unlike day 1, I decided to do my run today at 17:20 local time after work. And I started the first 3 miles out on the streets, and now I'm in the National Forest. I'm going to walk this segment just because there are lots of rocks. But bottom line, both the headlamp on the single bulb setting and the FT60R HT at high power are both running at full capacity still. And that's 45 minutes yesterday, 45 minutes today, and I probably have another 15 minutes before I get back home. So the results look okay so far. I don't have really a good baseline since I never do this work. And I think since I gave myself the 10-day endurance test, I may go ahead and extend some of my training sessions up beyond an hour to see if I can really wear down the batteries and maybe try some alkalines or something else as a baseline. All right, this is going to be a long video. We're only on day 2. See you guys tomorrow.
Hey there, Mike. I keyed up about an hour ago when I started my trail run with the headlamp, and I got to tell you, it is no picnic running in the dark with a headlamp, something I'm not used to. Thanks for jumping on.
You on a trail? Are you off-road?
Morning guys, it's day 3, it's a Saturday morning. Yeah, it's about 5:30 a.m. Today I'm going to make a couple of changes to my gear. The first change is going to be my gloves. I'm actually going to wear the merino wool gloves that are in my go bag in the Jeep. The 511 tactical gloves have leather, and I don't like the way they feel when they get wet. It's almost like a slimy feel, and doesn't keep my hands too warm. I've also opted to change out my bottom base layer from a t-shirt to a long sleeve version. So essentially I have 2 long sleeve base layers that I'm wearing. Also not going to wear my glasses today until the defog it arrives. It should be here today, just because I can't see when the lenses get fogged up. All right, see you guys in a bit. All right guys, we hit our first milestone of sorts at the end of day 3. Let's talk about the fails and the wins. We'll start with the fails first. I've got this pile over here. So the 511 gloves absolutely are not going to go with me on the trail runs when it's cold or dark, for the reasons I mentioned earlier. The merino wool gloves, absolutely warm and comfortable, so this is going to be my go-to for this style of operation. The second base layer kept me much warmer, even though the low today was only 46 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll switch over to the fails real quick. The Energizer headlamp that I've been using, I don't know the model number, died today. First 10 minutes into the run, and I was able to turn it back on. Then again at 25 minutes into the run, and then finally completely dead at 28 minutes. So I don't know whether that's the expected runtime. We'll do some research and get back to you, or whether it's the batteries or the combination here. But bottom line is, later today I'm going to field recharge. We'll show that bit, and we're going to see if we get a similar runtime. So total out of this one on my first test, 1 hour, 134 minutes, so about 2 hours and 15 minutes of runtime. For me, that's unacceptable, but it's good to know, and we'll see if the next test show the same metrics. The Yaesu FT60R with the battery pack is still running at 9 volts. I was able to key up before and after my run, so happy with this performance so far. We're still in the first charge. And then my EDC flashlight, the S1R Baton 2, was actually needed on the remainder of my run. I just ran it on a low setting with my left hand, and then when a vehicle approached, I put it on the highest lumen settings, which I believe is 1,000 lumens on this light. So always great to have a backup, guys. And yeah, later today we're going to go ahead and I'll show you a little bit of the charging for the Pale Blue Earth batteries. Morning guys, it's day 4, Sunday morning, about 5 a.m. local time, and getting ready for my next run. Yesterday the headlamp died on my run, so I did recharge it yesterday using my amateur radio solar battery field system. It is a 4.5 amp hour BioWino battery that typically powers my radio. I have that plugged into the Buddy Pole Power Mini Solar Charge Controller, and I use the USB 5 volt out to plug in the USB provided cable from Pale Blue Earth, and then I connected 3 of the batteries to the pigtails. And I will tell you that the micro USB connectors feel a little bit brittle, at least for the AAA batteries. I didn't want to force in the connectors. I just don't know how long that connector is going to last. I also have a small concern about any kind of a lack of ingress protection for those USB connectors on the batteries, but in general, I don't think it's going to be a problem if they're stored in the battery trays. Another change I'm making for today's run is I'm opting for my wool beanie today. This is 85% wool with some synthetic on the other 15%, so it's not as itchy. I think this is going to be much warmer and keep me and not have as much moisture kind of build up around my head as my other beanie. I also have purchased Defog It. We'll give this a try. This was something I just ordered quickly on Amazon, but I want to try something also called Cat Crap. And that's not a joke. It seems to be the best in the market. And then I'm in a buying frenzy these days. I guess these are early Christmas gifts to myself. After I'm done with the Energizer cheapo headlamp I bought from Walmart like 5 or 6 years ago, after today's test, I want to try to run down that cheap headlamp. So I'm going to go for probably a 2 to 2.5 hour run after I'm done talking to you guys. And if I get the same 2 hour, 15-minute runtime, I'm going to call that testing done. And I'm actually going to try a, need more coffee. Black Diamond Storm 400 Lumen. I'm going to read the manual right now and figure out which setting would be best for me, but we'll move on to this testing after the Energizer headlamp dies. All right, guys, see you in a bit.
KT1RU1, clear. All right, guys, it's the end of day 4. I clocked 90 minutes today in about 7.5 miles. The headlamp is on its second charge, but it ran the whole time today. So I suspect we have about 45 minutes to an hour left of its runtime if the first test was accurate. The FD60R is still running on its first charge, still holding 9 volts, and working really great. That one is actually exceeding my expectations. The Defog It worked great today.
All right, guys, it's day 5, and I've reached the point where I have already formulated some conclusions, so this section is going to be a little bit longer. I'll keep days 6 through 10 very short. And today I realized that the direction this channel is going to go is with the philosophy of tools, not toys. Whether it's amateur radio, wilderness survival, emergency preparedness, I want to look at everything as tools and not toys. I know amateur radio has a wonderful history of tinkering. I'm moving away from tinkering, and I want rock solid communication. So I kept all my gear on. I just did a 45-minute run. It's Monday morning before work, and I'm going to work top down, and we'll talk about everything that is still working and the things that are failing. So right at the top, I have the $15 Energizer headlamp that I had in the go bag. This has taken 2 charges so far, and it just died, and I'm not going to recharge it a 3rd time. And I'm running in here the Pale Blue Earth Lithium Ion batteries. It's no knock on those batteries yet, and it's no knock on this Energizer headlamp, but I'm finding that the runtime is just shy of, well, anywhere from, let's call it 2 hours-ish. It died 10 minutes into my run. So what I'm going to do for tomorrow's run, and actually what I did 10 minutes into my run, is I switched over to Energizer alkaline batteries, so we have a good baseline. After that, I'm switching over to the Black Diamond Storm 400. So for me, this is a toy, but I'm curious to see how the alkalines perform. The wool cap is something I've tried the last few days, and it is 100% something I'm going to keep. I love the properties of wool insofar as its antimicrobial properties and ability to keep you warm even when wet, which is clearly the case while I'm running. My glasses, I have been using the Defog It now for 2 days, and I absolutely love it. Haven't had any fog up. I have a lot of, I could see my breath, and it's not fogging up my glasses anymore. And in fact, today's run, we hit 39 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, let's talk about the radio. Let me see where we're at right now. And we're reading 9 volts still. So I am using the aftermarket, or actually the Yaesu battery tray, and I'm running in here still on the first charge, the Pale Blue Earth Lithium Ion batteries, so the AA batteries. And they're essentially from the same company where I was running the 3 AAAs in here. So very happy with this performance. Even had 2 longer QSOs at the beginning of my run today and at the end for about 2 to 3 minutes. So I will tell you right now, based on day 5, the lithium ion batteries from Pale Blue Earth with the battery tray is going to be a part of my kit for sure. All right, so the only other real update was today I made one more change. I typically hike with a merino wool long sleeve base layer. This is the first time I put it on. So I actually have 3 layers. I have a 32-degree t-shirt base layer that I got from Costco, a much more expensive, I only have one of these, smart wool long sleeve, and then I have a cheap Hanes high-vis kind of wicking outer base layer. And today is the most comfortable I have felt this entire time. I would say if I had to rate a comfort rating, today was easily a number 7 at 39 Fahrenheit temperatures. All right, guys, we're gonna do day 6 through 10 pretty quickly, but I'm more curious now about seeing the performance or how much more we can run down the Yaesu, and really to see how the alkaline AA or AAA batteries stack up in the headlamp. See you guys later. All right, guys, it's day 6, but before talking about that, yesterday I pulled out the pale blue earth batteries out of the cheapo Energizer headlamp because it failed to continue to light after just shy of 2 hours. I put it on my meter and it was reading 1.51 volts on all 3 batteries. So either way, there's something wrong where I can't use it with this Energizer headlamp. So for me, those batteries are out when paired with this unit. I will be testing those as soon as I can with the Black Diamond headlamp and see if I get the same results. So after that failure yesterday, I put 3 Duracell batteries in there. And then today I did roughly a 70-minute run covering a little over 6 miles. And the Duracell batteries that I put in yesterday are still running. So we're very close to that 2-hour mark. So I think the Duracells are actually going to be the preferred method. We'll see in tomorrow's run how much more runtime I get. The Yaesu FT60R on day 6 is still reading 9 volts and still running on the 6 pale blue earth battery. So I am absolutely loving that. I did a quick transmission before the run and afterwards. So this is very much a keeper for me in terms of this running the batteries in the tray. And just one new gear item. I've shown this many times on the channel, but my Haley Strategic chest rig that I've been using for a few years has Velcro lining on the inside. It's actually designed to receive 3 magazine pouches. One that I have here, but I just put my iPhone in there. And I typically have extra room in here and I don't want anything to fall out. So given that I wanted to bring an extra Yaesu FT60R battery and an extra set of AAA batteries, I ordered this Maxpedition 3x5 zippered pocket, and it's actually nice because it has Velcro on the back and I can now connect it into my chest rig. So it adds a little bit of weight, but you guys who watch the channel know I don't care about carrying weight. And it's really a nice place for me to keep 4 extra AAA batteries for the headlamp. I'm going with Duracells since they are working better, it seems. Just some chapstick. And then in a waterproof bag, I have the actual nickel metal hydride battery pack for the FT60R. The low today was 49 degrees. Anyways, we've got a few more days of testing. See you guys tomorrow. All right, morning guys. It's day 7, and I gotta tell you, I was struggling to get up this morning, but glad I got out and did 45 minutes today. The low was 48 to 49 degrees Fahrenheit. The alkaline batteries I put in the Energizer headlamp are still running. In fact, we surpassed the runtime we saw with the lithium ion batteries. So we'll have to run those down again tomorrow. We'll see what happens. And then the original Pale Blue Earth lithium ion batteries that I put in the Yaesu FT60R are still running. So very happy with this performance. Like before, I did a transmission at the beginning of my run and one at the end. All right, see you guys tomorrow on day 8. Hey, morning guys. It's day 8. It's about 6:50 a.m. local time. I just got back from a 70-minute run today covering about 6 miles. The low was 53 degrees Fahrenheit. The Duracell batteries are still running. I'm noticing a little bit of dimming, but it's very usable light. And the FT60R is still on the original charge and holding 9 volts. So I'm cheating a bit today. I'm gonna basically keep on my headlamp and the FT60R for a few hours this morning and see if I can wear it down because we're running out of time here. Hey, good morning guys. It's Christmas Eve, about 6 a.m. local time. It's actually raining today. So I'm actually wearing a rain jacket and just my merino wool today. We'll see how that goes.
Yesterday I ran the FT60R for an additional 2 hours on receive with 4 transmissions. It's still on the original battery. And I ran the headlamp for an extra hour. It's still running on the Duracells. So let's hit day 9 and let's see how we do today.
All right, guys, if you're still with me, day 9 I think had the most insights out of all my runs. What I want to do now that it's fresh, it's about 6:45 a.m. local time. I covered in about 37 minutes, just shy of 3 miles. I had to go a bit slower, and the low was 53. So I'll start from the top. The headlamp actually seemed to work pretty well in the rain. Unlike my Black Diamond, I don't believe this is IPX67 rated, but it survived for that entire run, and we're still running on the Duracells. One thing I noticed was that it was still putting out the same amount of power that I had noticed the last few days, but we didn't have any moonlight today, and the light was still usable, but I had a hard time today with no moon, so keep that in mind. I may need to do some testing on a higher intensity, and I won't do it with this one, I'll do it with the Black Diamond. The defog, it still works great. I love it. I think it's going to be part of my kit. The only thing I wish I had was windshield wipers for my glasses. There was only one car on the road this morning. The guy thought I was freaking nuts. Stopped to make sure I was okay. I'm like, yeah, just doing some running and testing. The wool beanie, ooh, wow, I can hear again. The wool beanie still worked out great. The one issue I had is this rain jacket has a hood. And I started out with the hood for the first couple minutes and realized that I couldn't hear anything. And given that I'm not wearing any reflective gear, everything is black, it's raining, I decided so that I could hear everything, I'd rather get a little bit more wet, so keep that in mind. The radio is still running on the original Lithium Ion charge. It's still working. This one is a rugged radio, but I'm not sure on what the IP rating is. I do have another radio I was about to sell, the VX6R, which is submersible. I'm probably not going to sell it anymore because it would have been useful to switch out the radio. So we'll do a test later to make sure that this is working as soon as I'm done filming this segment. But battery pack is working great. Let's go through the rest of my gear. All right, so this rain jacket worked exceptionally well. I've had it forever in my EDC bag. We don't get a whole lot of rain out here, but it worked out phenomenally well. And I think it was just an REI jacket I picked up many, many years ago, so I can't even tell you the brand, unfortunately. I didn't run with the backpack, so what I did in the pocket, I went ahead and put my backup Black Diamond light, which I still haven't used. I don't think we're going to be able to test this on this video, guys. So that worked out well. I just went with the merino wool base layer. There's nothing underneath. Comfort rating, I was very comfortable even though I was wet the entire time. I was very warm. So I would give this probably about a 6.5 to 7. Quite a few things need to happen though for this run. I need to make sure I dry out all my gear. So the CCW that's in there needs to be fully taken down and dried out. So I'll take care of that after this. And then I also need to take out things like the extra magazine and the Leatherman Mutt multi-tool, make sure that I dry everything off perfectly fine. The other thing I'm interested in is I always run with a plastic bag with my maps, and I'm just curious to see, yeah, everything is nice and dry. So the plastic bag I've had forever here is working out great. And then we have this Maxpedition pack. Let's see if anything in here is, yeah, everything is pretty dry on the inside, and like I showed you last time, I always waterproof everything. So the backup battery for the FT60R looks to be dry, and then the extra Duracell AAA batteries are also dry. Now I did make one boo-boo. I carry my keys and my wallet in the front pouch here. I left it open like this on my run. So in general, almost everything in here is waterproof. The compass, the Write in the Rain notepad. There's a reason why all my field cards are laminated, so they're pretty wet. The only one that I think is not going to survive, we'll have to check out my first aid kit tin to make sure that it looks good on the inside. And everything is dry, so I think what I'll do here is make sure I completely air everything out and maybe stick this in another plastic bag. Everything else looks good. Oh. There we go. We're cooking the fire. And then the backup flashlight worked in a few areas. There were quite a few puddles. So I did use it every once in a while to make sure that I wasn't gonna go ankle deep into something. So it was nice to have a backup. In fact, I didn't use the one that was in the chest rig. I have a secondary one, or my primary one, that I run in the 511 pouch. And when cars were approaching or that one car approached, they basically kind of spotlit them a bit. All right, so tomorrow's Christmas Day, day 10. What I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna run tomorrow. I've already covered over 40 miles the last 9 days. What I will do today is I'm gonna wear down this battery as much as I can, and I'll fill you in tomorrow on all the details, all the findings, all my recommendations. All right, see you guys on day 10. All right, just connected up the radio. Let's see if you can get anybody. I'm just gonna try simplex, and we'll see how this works. Good morning, this is KT1RUN. If anybody is monitoring and willing to have a quick rag chew and even a small signal report, I would appreciate it. I was out experimenting with the radio out in the rain, and I'm not sure if it has impacted its ability to transmit. Again, the call here is Kilo Tango 1, Romeo Uniform November. And 7 END, KT1RUN, do you copy?
Okay, I got you now. Is this any better?
Yeah, you sound great. You're full quieting. Just to give you the heads up, I have been testing some lithium ion batteries in the FT60R using a battery tray for the last 9 days. And I'm just trying to run down the battery. So if you have a few minutes for a QSA, that would be fantastic.
Just don't know. I'm sorry, I just came out here just to check in and check out. I have a boatload here I'm handling this morning, so I can't. I apologize, but I do wish you a happy holiday. Over.
Yes. All right, guys. It's day 10, and we finally finished the testing. And I just want to give you guys the winners real quick before I get into the data. So the FT60R with the battery tray and the Pale Blue Earth lithium ion batteries are absolutely a winner. I'm going to continue to use this in my kit. These ran on the single charge the entire time. In fact, yesterday on Christmas Eve, I was driving my family crazy wearing down the battery on the NOAA weather receive. So absolutely will cover almost every kind of deployment I do in the backcountry. And the fact that I can recharge these batteries in under 2.5 hours is absolutely a game changer for me. The headlamp actually did not do very well with the lithium ion batteries, so I will no longer use that. The alkaline batteries are the winner, so I'm going to use this headlamp as my backup in the Jeep and pair that with a couple sets of traditional Duracell alkaline batteries. We never got a chance to test out the black diamond headlamp, but I am going to do that, maybe a separate video, and I want to try the same kind of comparison with just the lithiums versus the alkaline batteries. In terms of gear, the defog it for the glasses worked great, and then switching over to wool cap, wool gloves was a winner. All right, so let's look at some of the metrics. So the first spreadsheet I have here is just on my run, and I covered just shy of 41 miles over the 9 runs, 3,400 feet of elevation, and a total of on-trail time of 9 hours. So again, during that 9-hour time, I actually was able to run on a single charge of the Pale Blue Earth batteries, and then I had to go through 3 sets of batteries on the headlamp. 2 charges of the lithium ion, and then finishing strong with the Duracells most of the way. So let's take a look at some of the stats. So with the lithium ion batteries, the AAAs in the headlamp, I essentially made it 3 days, day 1, 2, and then midway into day 3, it crapped out after 28 minutes. I did recharge those batteries. It took less than 1 hour. It took about 55 minutes using my battery pack and the 5-volt USB charging on the buddy pole. So very happy that it's able to charge so quickly. Then I switched over to, oh, actually, I did not switch over. I went ahead and did a second run, and I got basically the same number. So I made it half that workout and then the next 2 days. So the average run time on those 2 tests for the lithium ion batteries came in at about, let's call it 2.2 hours of runtime. And then I finished out days 5 through 9 plus very extensive just runtime after my workout to wear down the batteries, and I was able to get a runtime of 10 hours and change. So the alkaline batteries in this particular headlamp is absolutely the winner. All right, and then the radio is not too interesting. It just performed exceptionally well and will be my go-to. And I was able to get 988 minutes of runtime, coming in at about 16.5 hours. And anecdotally, when I was working my last public service event, the nickel metal hydride ran 17 hours. Granted, I was probably transmitting a bit more. For this test, I was on receive for the 9 hours while I was running that week, and then did probably 18 to 22 transmissions. And then the bulk of the hours, the 360 minutes yesterday, I had this radio on the NOAA weather receive on high volume. And like I said, I can't be happier with these results. Charge time with, again, the same kind of 5-volt USB charging, 2.5 hours for 6 of these batteries. So I think, I don't have the breakdown, but I had to charge the first 4 and then I charged the last 2. Cumulative time to charge all 6 took 2.5 hours. And compared to the 15 hours with roughly the same capacity on nickel metal hydride, this is the winner. So I hope you guys enjoy this new style. My focus is to double down on preparedness, emergency communication, and training, and I want gear that absolutely will support me on that front. So next thing that's up for the channel will be some digital mode testing and a new ruggedized laptop/tablet called the CF20 from Toughbook that I'm testing and having wonderful results. So we're going to take all of that into the backcountry. We're going to take it on public service events, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to reinvent, if my vision comes to fruition, how to do digital for emergency communications. All right, guys, I'm the Tech Prepper. Be strong, be safe, and be prepared. Oh, and Merry Christmas, if that's what you do. I do.